Good evening and welcome to the Whiskey Lovers Society with me, Gert Retief, and tonight we are talking Bruichladdich Classic, or the Classic Laddie, 50% ABV, natural color, non-chill filtered, ticking the boxes for me at 50% ABV, high ABV, something for the winter time. It's bloody cold here in Belgium, so definitely I need something to warm up the insides. Natural color, non-chill filtered, they are really ticking the boxes for me. Now this is take two. I did try it many years ago, and I wasn't super impressed with it, and I think that high ABV then took its toll. And was not used to high ABV whiskies. I was also not used to that little tanniny whiskey, that little bitter notes coming out. So definitely take two. Price-wise, €50 for this bottle. Now, I think if you look at the bottle, I think that's just a clever way. You don't see the full Bruichladdich. You have to pick it up. First of all, it draws you near to that blue bottle. It's out of the ordinary. First, you might think it's in the wrong aisle. It's in the wrong section of the bottle shop. And you have to pick it up. You have to read it. Once you read it, bam, we've got a customer. The intrigue is there. So I think quite a good strategy from their side. Make it a nice blue color, and make it a little bit of a fun bottle as well. So yeah, not going to be a long video. Color-wise, it is natural color. Now, I don't know if you can see, I've got a quite bright light shining on the old face, so please don't zoom in. It is an old face, but maybe you can see it. There is little imperfections in there, little things, little floaters. Of course, non-chill filtered, so they definitely a lot of floaters in the glass. Well, I hope it's good stuff. I hope it's not an old expired bottle. Now, this is a sample that was sent to me, so we'll see. On the nose, Bruichladdich, 50% natural color, non-chill filtered. Cheers. And now, the one thing that I did pick up on this one, it definitely needs some time in the glass. Now, yesterday, I did spend a little bit of time with it. I did try to make some notes, try to make sense of all the things that I pick up, the aromas, the taste. And when you pour it, it was not one of the best whiskies that you pour it and drink it. For me, it really needed a little bit of time in the glass. So that's why when I poured this one, maybe 20 minutes ago, because I knew a little bit of time does make it a little bit better. I don't want to start off a video with all the negativity, and then 2-3 minutes later I come back and I change my mind completely. So give this one a little bit of time. There's a little bit of a strangeness on this one. It is definitely not a very sweet whiskey, but it's also not a peated whiskey. And the first time when you open up that bottle, I got a little bit of an ashy note. And I was like, I thought this was not peated. Why do I smell a little ashy note? And so left it a little bit in the glass. It completely disappeared. Did a bit of research because, I was not sure what am I smelling. Is it a peated whiskey or not? That 5-10 minutes in the glass, that removes that little volatility from that 50% ABV. It is a no-age statement whiskey, but you can definitely pick that up on the nose. There is that youthful note is there, that little bit of a nail polish remover notice there. It does a little sharpness on the nose, so you definitely get it is, well, it's not really a mature whiskey. But don't get me wrong, it's quite pleasant in a different way. If you're one of those guys, well, like me, that like the sweet whiskies, that little bit of a sherry cask influence, or a loads and loads of that vanillas coming out of the American oak, it will be a little bit different from you, but give it a little bit of time. Make sure that you spend enough time with it for that change to happen, with that little bit of a oxidization that takes place. Probably not much, but there's definitely a change every time that I go back. It's a little bit sweeter even on the nose. I do pick up a little bit of a barley note. There's a little bit of a salted, or just a hint of a salted caramel note coming out. There's a little bit of a flower note, like a big bouquet of freshly cut wild flowers. That greeny note, the stems that you cut, that gives you that green effect. Really nice. It's pleasant. A little bit of a light honey note I pick up. Also a little bit of a sherbet note, a citrusy sherbet note, a sweet citrusy sherbet note coming through. Quite pleasant. And I must say, from yesterday, spending quite maybe an hour and a half on it, today, this afternoon, I spent another maybe half an hour with it. And every time I pick up a little bit something new, something that I like, something different, something pleasant on it. So it keeps on, it feels like I keep on making notes, taking some notes out, replacing it with something new, but definitely it's a whiskey that gives quite a lot on the nose. On the taste, cheers. My word. On the taste, that, loads and loads more sweetness. That alcohol, 50%, definitely gives a punch to it. There's a spiciness to it. There's a hotness to it. But it's got a youthful note on it. Definitely telling you, this is definitely not an age statement or 10-year or 15-year-old. It's a little rough on the edges. There's a little ethanol note coming through, that burning sensation coming through. I also then pick up that tannins. That French oak is definitely, it's like a tug of war between the American oak and the French oak. American oak was doing well with the sweetness, that little vanilla note. It is all fantastic up until the halfway, and all of a sudden French oak came and just pulled the rug under the American oak, and you feel that tanniny notes coming through, that little bit of a resin note coming through, that little bit of a bitter note. But it's not a complete disaster. I think that little bitter note brings something to the whiskey. It is so much sweeter on the taste than on the nose. Even now, I would never have guessed all the sweetness coming out of this one. So really pleasant, well balanced, I think. And it puts you in that little roller coaster of emotions when drinking it. You're not sure, do I add water? Maybe the sips is too big, a little bit too sweet. And then half a second later it tells you, no, but I'm not that sweet. You go back to the nose, get sweeter again. Really a roller coaster, and a nice roller coaster ride on this one. I would definitely suggest small sips, add some water to it. But from experience, I don't want to go through this whole water or not water. With this one, I realized last night, be careful. It's not expensive whiskey, but you don't want to ruin any whiskey with water. Now, last night I was experimenting, added a little bit of water, a little bit more, and just, I think, like 3 drops extra completely ruined it for me. It smelled like dishwasher water, or maybe a little bit of a swimming pool water that came out. Definitely. So I am going to add some water. I'm not going to add too much. This is, a quarter of a teaspoon of water. So I'm definitely not going to water it. I'm done wasting whiskey. So rather a couple of drops at a time. When you give it some time, give it a little bit of that unhealthy shaky. Just let the meet and greet find their place in this ecosystem. And it's nice. That green note, little cut grass note coming out. That flowery note, fresh flowers. A little less on the ethanol, little less youthful note. It's sweeter, just a little bit elevated, a little bit more of that caramel note, a little butterscotchy note coming through. That salted caramel is still there on the taste. A little bit of a mistake there. A little bit too big of a sip, so definitely can add another drop or two of water, but a lot sweeter again. And it feels like that little ethanol, that little bit of that tannin is less now. It is less bitter notes. There's less oakiness in it. It's still hot. It's still spicy. It's still warm. It still warms up the mouth. Quite pleasant, actually. A little bit of a fruity note also coming out. A little bit of a gooseberry note and a little bit of a citrus note coming out. Wow. Pleasant. $50. 50% ABV. No age statement. So definitely not a cheap bottle. I think there's a lot cheaper bottles out there. But it does get my stamp of approval. I do like the high ABV stuff. But like I said, give it some time in a glass. So that's me. What do you think? Have you tried the Bruichladdich Classic Laddie, the blue bottle, the strange bottle? Is that something that you would recommend for your friends? So please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for all my Patreons. I have a couple of Patreons. All the money goes to the kids in South Africa. Really appreciate it. It is nice to see that there's a kind people out there that's willing to give a euro or €2 a month for somebody that really needs it. So please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I see you next time. Cheers.